Good evening, everyone. I call to order the meeting of the Manassas Park Governing Body for September 16th, 2025. Councilmember Cyberling has requested to participate remotely in accordance with with governing body adopted policy and as permitted by Virginia Code Section 2.2-3708.2. I move to approve Councilmember Cyberling's request, properly submitted in writing prior to today's meeting, for remote participation, subject to compliance with the requirements outlined in the City Council adopted policy and applicable law in all or portions of the governing body meeting of September 16th, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Are we good for that? Okay, great. Approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. And please join us for a moment of silence. And Councilmember Javed, since you're here at 7, could you lead us?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, right now is general public comment time. We will have comments for the public hearing next on the agenda. Do we have anyone signed up for general public comments? Anyone not signed up who still wants to make general public comments? Okay. Public hearing. Okay, thank you. So now we have our public hearing. Our public hearing is regarding Comprehensive Plan Amendment CPA number 25-02, rezoning RZ number 2025-02 Overlook and Public Facilities Waivers PFW 2025-02A through 02F. I declare the public hearing open. We'll begin with staff presentation. Okay. Oh, wait. There's something. Oh, still not working. Okay. Just escape out of this. Okay. I don't know why it's not showing up on the screen.
Nobody jokes.
Now,
I would feel miserably as a stand-up comedian, so I'll just spare you all from that.
We'll give it a minute to see what's going on, and then we can improvise.
Okay.
Well, do you feel comfortable giving like a introduction?
I-
Can you see it, or we just?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
It just won't show up on the screen. We can, I mean, pictures are worth 1,000 words, so, I mean, and I know the applicants have presentations as well, so, I mean, I'm happy to start orally and see if this can be worked out, so.
Okay.
Okay, this is, good evening, everybody. This is several applications for a comprehensive plan amendment, a rezoning, and 6 public facility waivers for a project that's called the Overlook. The location of this project is at the southwestern corner of the West Carondelet and Manassas Drive intersection. They are proposing to have 213 units, which 77 are going to be townhomes, and the remaining 136 are going to be stacked condos, the 2-over-2 condominiums as you have. They will all be garages, and the way that the plan is situated, unfortunately, we don't have a photo, but most of the 2-over-2 condos are in the middle of the development and concentrated kind of towards the rear of the property, and then it's surrounded by townhomes. Oh, great.
Thank you.
Perfect.
That is not the right, let's see if we can. I don't know what, I don't know what program they're using. That's not the, let's see if this works now. Oh. Okay, that's not the right presentation.
You were doing great.
Okay, I'll keep going because we're still having to, okay.
Send that to them.
Okay.
This computer's not working for some reason.
Oh, okay. So there are, so we talked about the number of units. There's going to be the 2 types, townhomes. There are 2 types of townhomes. Some will be front-loaded, meaning the driveways are in the front. The remaining will be rear-loaded. That means the driveways are in the back. The rear-loaded ones will be along fronting on West Carondelet Drive. So when you drive along West Carondelet, you'll see the fronts of the townhomes facing the sidewalk. There are also a few other of the remaining townhomes that front there is on the community green, which is a 30,000 square foot amenity area for the proposal and the development. We do have this one photo up here, so I would like to take an opportunity to use it, but most of that area, excuse me, Carl, in here will remain as open space. It's identified as a conservation easement on the plan. It's measured about 150 feet from Manassas Drive, but this whole area will remain essentially as is. Which is one of the benefits of the community in terms of preserving open space. And so then you have a more concentrated number of units in the remaining portion of the site. There will also be 11 ADUs for the property. 6 will be workforce housing, which is essentially for city employees on a first-come basis. And then there's ADUs that is for city residents that is up to 70% of the area median income. And these are for sale, so the prospective purchasers of the affordable dwelling units who meet those income requirements will be purchasing the property through a qualified lender. So this is a home ownership program. So they are proposing a comprehensive plan amendment. Oh, great. Excellent. Okay. We'll start from here. Thank you, IT staff. Okay.
Just let me know when you want next slide and I'll move it for you.
Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so let's get back to basics, the comprehensive plan and the existing zoning. So these are the two parcels that we talked about. Here's West Carondelet. The former Christian school is Zone PUD, which is Plan U development, and the open space area is Zone B2, which is a commercial business. For our land use map, what we would like the city to look in the future, this has been identified as private institution because of the school, and then this is a recreation. It is in the Parks and Rec chapter of the comprehensive plan and deemed open space. Here is a layout of the property. Oh, next slide, please. And you can see the various units. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I talked about it orally. But the color coding shows the different types of units. These are the front-loaded townhomes in the yellow gold. The blue are the 2/2 condominiums. And you can see that they front on the green as well as captured in the back here. And then the remaining are the rear-loaded townhomes on the front and facing the green. Next slide, please.
You're good.
Oh, it's not showing up in here. I'm sorry, excuse me. Okay, so the planned unit development, I just wanted to go over the zoning requirements. There are no minimum lot sizes or maximum density. This flexibility is offered for a variety of things: innovative site design, variety in housing choices, higher level of amenities, and preservation of open space and natural features. And this application actually hits all those marks. It is a bit tighter because they are taking some of the land and dedicating it to either open space or this community amenity area, which actually a lot of the developments in Manassas Park do not have. So it would be a nice amenity and newly designed for a community in Manassas Park. Next slide, please. I did just want to take a look at the density, meaning the dwelling units per acre of the surrounding developments. So if you're not familiar with all the names, Belmont Reserve, Belmont Station, Bloom's Crossing Townhomes, Dominion Crossing, those are all townhouse communities. And you can see that they range from 6 dwelling units per acre, 6.8, to around 10, 11, or 12 if you round up at Belmont Station. The 2 apartments, Palisades and Park Place Senior Apartments, it's 18 units per acre for this senior apartment and 28.6 units per acre for Palisades. The overlook is in between. It does have a mix of 2/2 condos, which we do consider under the zoning ordinance as multifamily, which would be similar to apartments, and it comes at 16.2. So it is in the middle of the townhome density range and the apartments. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to kind of overlay this plan on what it's going to look like in the surrounding community. And I think the applicant did give some thought as to how the layout and the site could be best developed and pleasing to the residents who are going to be living there. As you can see, I mean, you have this big, massive, or not massive, but the apartment building for the senior center is quite large. And what they've tried to do is kind of concentrate that bulk of the area and that intensity closer to an existing apartment building. And the ones in the middle, up towards West Carondelet, you can't see it here, but this is that 30,000 square foot amenity area that all these units will face onto this green, open green, if you will. And smartly, they did put the townhomes next to the existing townhome communities and then fronting, so they are equal or equivalent to what's across the road. Oh, next slide, please. I just wanted to show this slide again, just so the ADUs are marked with the asterisks, so they've already identified those units that will be income controlled. Next slide, please. I know you can't really see this, but I did want to emphasize this is the landscape plan. You can see some of the trees and shrubs in the community, but what I really wanted to highlight is they are going to be providing streetlights along West Carondelet, 3 of them, and they will have interior lighting of the parking lots, which I know some of the newer communities unfortunately do not have that. So actually staff requested that the applicant provide that, so we know that that is going to be so have some safety within the community. Next slide, please. So there are 6 public facility waivers. They all are related to private streets. I'm not going to go through all of them, but basically it's either reduction or removing some of the requirements. Residential frontage on private streets, certainly all the streets inside are private. They will be maintained by the HOA. They couldn't be developed without frontage on a private street for this development, and many of the developments that are been done recently. They don't need sidewalks on both sides of the street. We're doing it as provided on the GDP. There is a nice sidewalk network, especially around the green, and it ties into the sidewalk on West Carondelet Drive. There's a cul-de-sac requirement for private streets. They're asking for that to be removed. Certainly does not make sense with the site layout. And then they are requesting a reduction in the private street width, which is 30 in our public facilities manual, down to 26 feet. The 26 feet is the minimum requirement that the fire marshal will agree to and provide it under the fire code for emergency access. So staff is supportive of that. Next slide, please. So one of the elements of the plan is there was concern about on-street parking on West Carondelet. The applicant, as shown on their master development plan, or general development plan, they are showing no changes to the area that abuts West Carondelet. They want to keep the on-street parking as is. However, with the traffic study they submitted, there is a right lane taper warranted under the existing conditions. Now, it will only allow approximately 2 cars in the taper lane. The bus stop will need to be relocated, and existing on-street parking will be reduced. Next slide, please. So this was their concept plan. it shows that they need 100 feet for the taper. The bus stop, the standard is 100 feet for the safety of the bus to pick up and drop off, and then they identified this for easy maneuverability for the bus as no parking. Next slide, please. So staff went out to look exactly at what is currently there. So this was a measurements of this area of the frontage along West Carondelet. You can see the bus stop, it's already at 50 feet for the bus area. We have confirmed with OmniRide that width or length is acceptable for a bus to safely come in and out. There is about approximately 141 feet of on-street parking, and there's no parking measured approximately 20 feet from the curb. There's no signage here, like 61 feet to the first bus stop sign, which has an arrow. This bus stop says no parking, the arrows are pointing inward. So I asked staff, because we do have a requirement that you cannot park within 30 feet of a stop sign, and the stop sign's right at the stop bar. So there is no signage here. We believe somehow the signage is missing, but this probably should have been no parking all the way down. So that's 61 feet. So in working with OmniRide, next slide please, staff has come up with an alternative proposal, which does move the bus stop, and OmniRide requested that if it is moved, that it become ADA compliant. It does accommodate the taper as recommended in the traffic study. There is a reduction in on-street parking, but only approximately 2 cars, which is 40 feet, and then retaining the no parking 20 feet from the curb. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to highlight some of the main points of the application. They are providing affordable dwelling units. They have significant parking, and I just wanted to touch on that. I know parking is a big issue. Just for some history, we did update the parking regulations in 2016, and while the townhouse units remained the same rate, the multifamily did not. It actually increased. It was 1.5 spaces per unit. It is now 1.75 spaces per unit plus 1 space for every 10 units. So 1.85 actually when you do the math. And most importantly, the garages are counted as half a space. So all the surrounding developments were parked under the old code. This is one of the developments that will be using the actual regulations in the zoning ordinance for parking without any waivers. So they are providing these 279 driveway spaces. They're only counting 140 garage spaces, and then 80 surface spaces in the development. So when compared to adjacent communities, there really is a lot more parking for the residents in this community as opposed to when you compare it to other existing developments. They do have a central community space, this significant green area where people there's a playground in there and a multi-purpose court, as well as a significant green space where you could have a picnic or just relax. And then, mentioned this before, that there's going to be that green area, conservation area along Manassas Drive, so that those row of street trees will remain, and most of that wooded area on the hill will be saved as well. Next slide, please. Here are some renderings the applicant provided for what the units will look like. These are the townhomes, and these are the multifamily units on the top here. These are the rear-loaded townhomes, and of course the front-loaded townhomes with the garages. And then here's that amenity space up in the top right corner that shows how many units will be around it and the significant area that is being provided within the development. Next slide, please. Here is a rendering of the development as it would look from the perspective of looking on West Carondelet Drive and Manassas Drive. You can see that the street trees are here. There's still a lot of the remaining trees. And then you can see the townhomes along West Carondelet Drive. And you could see a portion of the 2-over-2 condos, but they're really kind of enclosed within the community. They are actually proposing to put some type of masonry water line on the end units, just to give it a little bit more architectural character as you drive by. Next slide, please. So this did go to the Planning Commission last week. They did make a decision on September 10th. The public hearing was a month before in August. And the Planning Commission recommended to the governing body approval of comprehensive plan amendment to change those parcels to multifamily residential. It did approve the rezoning subject to the general development plan that was shown, which is the third submission, and the proffers dated July 28th, 2025. And they also wanted to modify the application by constructing the staff recommended taper with the ADA compliant bus stop and about 100 feet of on-street parking. And the Planning Commission did recommend approval of all the public facilities waivers except for one, which was they wanted to retain the streets as 30 feet in width. That was their recommendation. Next slide, please. So the staff recommendation is similar to the Planning Commission with the exception of we believe all the waivers should be approved. The site could not be designed with a 30-foot wide private streets, and staff is comfortable with the development as it's arranged given the amount of open space and green space they have. And it could not be done without the 26-foot wide private street width. So staff is recommending approval of all three items: the comprehensive plan amendment, the rezoning with the amendment of the taper, and West Carondelet photo that you see where the bus stop has been moved and the on-street parking is reduced to 100 feet, and then all the public facilities waivers. Sorry for all the complications, but I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Mickey. We appreciate it. Are there questions for staff before we hear the developer's presentation? Let's start with Councilmember Cyberling. Any questions for staff?
I do not, thank you.
Okay, down here, any questions for staff?
No, I don't have any questions for staff.
No questions. Vice Mayor?
No questions.
No questions. All right, got a couple questions. So the PUD that's zoned right now, it's you can think as a PUD as being valued for being a mixed use type of flexibility zoning. Now, locking in a residential in a PUD, we lose that flexibility, right? So for any future land use development for either civil or civic uses or any other commercial opportunities that will be allowed in the PUD district. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so the PUD district, yes, what you've said is correct, but it's in different areas. So the PUD, the beauty of the PUD is it gives the developer flexibility without so many, restrictive or setbacks and open space or perimeter buffering. So it gives the applicant ability to design the land that they're trying to develop. But what they do is, when they have a plan, that is how it's going to be developed. So the planned unit development is actually really like a site layout that you are approving, and they have to build to that. With respect to the mixed use, so PUD, this is, you can have all these different uses, but in the comp plan, a lot of the residential developments are zone PUD, and you could just have exclusively PUD residential. So it is dependent on the application, and so it doesn't have to be mixed use. It could be, but you are correct, because that strip shopping center on Andrew Drive is zone PUD.
Right.
And then the senior apartments are zone PUD as well, so, and the single-family homes are zone PUD. So yes, it's very flexible, and it does have a wide range of uses, but you do have to commit to a plan that you are going to develop.
Right. So in this plan or application, it would just be not PUD, or PUD residential, or just solely residential?
Well, I'm defining it as PUD residential. That is a name that's identified in the zoning ordinance. But really, you are rezoning to this plan as well. That is this part of the approval of the application and the PUD zoning for these properties.
Okay. Didn't we touch a base on how they're going to manage the increase of stormwater?
Yes, I did.
Is our infrastructure support something like that?
Right, I didn't
with the
touch on
build
that.
okay.
And I omitted that. They are going to be having an underground system under the 30,000 square foot area, that amenity area, and that will control the stormwater quality and quantity. So just for some background, the stormwater regulations changed in 2014, and they did become more stringent. And they focused on the runoff, looking for quantity and quality issues. So this plan is being developed under the new regulations, the more strict regulations, so it really should address stormwater quality and quantity
Because right
issues.
now, on the other side of the city, we have a huge problem with stormwater runoff there, right? So we don't have proper infrastructure at that city right now. So we want to make sure that there's proper infrastructure in place here.
Correct.
If it can be.
Right. Well, there are minimum requirements under, state code, but also our city ordinance. We did update those, I believe, in 2024. So yes, they have to follow all the current stormwater regulations.
And the burden will be on the developer, or?
Yes,
city?
absolutely. And then there is a maintenance agreement. The HOA will be required to maintain the facility. And I know we do periodic inspections as well, or are supposed to receive the reports. The city's supposed to receive the inspection reports. And I think there are state requirements that we're supposed to follow to ensure that these facilities are being maintained on a regular basis.
The waiver that they want to waive, the 700 vehicle count, I'm assuming with the 200 properties, 2 vehicles per property, we're looking at about 600 extra vehicles. So why waive the 700 if?
Well, I mean, it's vehicle trips per day, so it reaches that threshold. Even the other rezoning with 86 units reaches that threshold. Typically, in transportation literature, they really assign like 10 trips a day for a single-family house. I don't know off the top of my head what it is for a townhouse unit or a condominium unit, but there really are more trips than just the number of cars going in. They assign it based on how, I guess, an average of how many trips people make per day, right, to and from their home.
So with your professional opinion, you think that road could hold 700 plus trips from that corner to Manassas Drive?
Yes, well, that's the traffic study, and I didn't touch on that either. I think the applicant will go into more detail on that.
Okay.
But they do look at existing traffic, and then traffic with the development, and then future traffic without the development, and future traffic with the development. And the way that it is looked at is they assess it on a grading scale of A through F. And certainly the higher letters the letters A and B are the ones that make it a better intersection, I believe. The intersection at West Carondelet and Manassas Drive will always be at a C or better. It might be a B or better, but I'll have the applicant correct me. So that, a lot of intersections in Northern Virginia, I have a D. So this is a well-run intersection, and the taper should actually at least assist that issue as well.
And there's no proposed green space on the plan. I thought, besides the buffer zone, inside the development itself, there's no...
No, yes, there is. There's a 30,000 green space, 30,000 square foot green space area that several of the 2-over-2 condos and some of the rear-loaded, there will be one-car garage townhomes. They do front on this green that has a little playground as well as a multi-purpose court. Significant green space for the community.
Okay.
I'm getting to the end. I'm sorry I had a cold.
No, you're fine.
Don't worry. Do you have more questions, Councilmember?
No, not at this time. I wait for the public comments and developer.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mickey. Welcome.
Are you getting that presentation up, Stephen?
Keep working on it. Is that the right one?
Yes, and to advance the slide, do I tell you or do I tell you? Okay. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Samantha Stuckety, and I'm a senior land use planner with Ballard Spar. I'm excited to present the Overlook application to you this evening on behalf of the applicant. The application encompasses 2 parcels that are approximately 13.1 acres in size and are located south of West Carondelet Drive, west of Manassas Drive, and generally east of Jessica Court. The larger of the 2 parcels is currently developed with a vacant building and has 2 points of access onto West Carondelet Drive. In order to facilitate the proposed residential development known as the Overlook, the applicant is seeking to change the existing designation from Planned Unit Development and B2 General Business District to Planned Unit Development Residential. Next slide. The Overlook provides a thoughtfully designed community with 4.5 acres of open space, which includes a robust 1.2 acre tree preservation area along Manassas Drive and a 30,000 square foot centrally located community amenity area. Something that we consistently heard from the community as we worked through this application was a desire to see parking provided in excess of the 432 spaces required by the zoning ordinance. We are pleased to provide 499 parking spaces, 67 spaces in excess of the ordinance. The community consists of 47 front-load townhomes, next slide, 30 rear-loaded townhomes, next slide, and 136 stacked condo units, next slide. for a total of 213 units, 11 of which will be affordable dwelling units. Next slide. Although staff is supportive of the application, they have identified one of the open questions in the staff report. In short, while the traffic analysis concluded that a right turn lane taper along West Carondelet Drive may be warranted, it would require removal of the on-street parking. We have heard from the community that retaining the on-street parking is critical. So in the proposal before you this evening, you will see that we have deferred to the community and are not proposing the right turn taper. Next slide. However, the Planning Commission, as part of its recommendation of approval, is endorsing the staff alternative depicted here, which Michelle detailed in her presentation. The applicant is amenable to providing this alternative, if so desired by the governing body. Next slide. While the application has been processing through the city, the applicant engaged with the Belmont Station HOA, Bloom's Crossing HOA, and Park Place on several occasions leading up to this evening's public hearing. And most recently, on July 22nd, the applicant hosted a community meeting, which was advertised on the city's website and with the residents of Belmont Station and Bloom's Crossing to walk through this application and answer any questions. Based on the feedback provided at the community meeting and at the Planning Commission public hearings, we're going to go into a little more detail on a handful of topics, such as parking, transportation, schools, affordable housing, and the shared property line with Belmont Station. Next slide. First, parking. We are providing 67 spaces in excess of the zoning ordinance, which requires 432 spaces for a total of 499 spaces, 80 of which are off-lot surface spaces. Mickey noted, it's important to note that each garage space only counts as half of a space. Kayla Ord with Grove Slade will dive a little deeper into transportation now. Next slide.
So as was mentioned, the property was previously occupied by a private school, and before the school closed, we collected traffic counts to establish a baseline trip generation for comparison. In the morning, the school's peak overlaps with the commuter peak hour, and because of this overlap, the proposed residential use will actually result in a reduction in traffic during that morning peak hour. And then in the afternoon, schools typically experience their peak a little bit earlier in the day, whereas residential traffic occurs slightly later and more in line with the commuter peak. So there is a small increase in traffic in the PM peak. But overall, the total difference in trips between the previous and proposed use is minimal. We did need to do a traffic study, however, to look at that main intersection. And the graphic you can see on the screen, oh, sorry, I gave you a wrong indicator, shows the future AM and PM trips. It's kind of like AM/PM. And the analysis showed that this intersection operates at an overall level service B, which Mickey kind of touched on earlier, with average delays of less than 20 seconds, and the queues were contained within the storage areas. And then when we compared the results with and without the site, the difference was minimal and it was still operating at an overall level service B. Next slide, please. Even though it's operating at a level service B, city staff did also ask us to review whether the intersection meets the warrants for a traffic signal. This determination is based on kind of a regional and national standards outlined in the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, or METCD for short. And then for a signal to be warranted at a minimum of 4 hours, there's a 4-hour and an 8-hour warrant, but I've shown the 4-hour because it's a little easier to warrant. A minimum of 4 hours throughout the day have to exceed those volume thresholds. And then you can see the 4 dots on the chart. Those are kind of the 4 highest hours of the day, kind of corresponding to those commuter peaks. And you can see that all 4 are under that line. And so based on the volumes and the METCD criteria, a signal was not warranted at the intersection.
Next slide. As it pertains to schools, it was noted during the March 18, 2025 governing body meeting that the student enrollment has declined by 11.6% over the last 7 years. The applicant is proposing the 2 housing types that generate the fewest students. Since the city doesn't have a student generation factor formula, we utilized Prince William County's factor to get a sense of the anticipated student generation for the proposed project. Based on their factors, the development will generate 36 elementary, 19 middle, and 21 high school students. Given the steady decline, which UVA's Weldon Cooper Center for Public Service Projects will continue through 2029, these additional students generated by the overlook will not negatively impact the schools. Next slide. During the public hearings, there were questions regarding the affordable dwelling units, so we wanted to take a minute to briefly touch on the 11 units proposed. Reflected on the screen in the little box are the eligibility criteria for the city's program that will be applicable to such first-time home buyers. The affordable dwelling units proposed with this project are in conformance with the committed attainable for sale housing options in the City of Manassas Park policy and guidelines dated October 1st, 2024, which was passed by resolution of this governing body. The purchaser of any city-owned property that is intended to be used for residential development must provide for sale ADUs, which we're in conformance with. Next slide. There were questions raised regarding the trees being preserved along the shared property line with Belmont Station. As you can see in this exhibit, which we shared with the Belmont Station residents who attended the community meeting and provided us with their email addresses, the shared property line is depicted in red. Oh, can you hit, thank you. The existing trees shown in green along the shared Belmont Station property line will be preserved. In addition to the trees being preserved, the applicant is proposing additional landscaping along this property line, which are depicted by the circles and dots and trees along that property line. Coinciding with the shared property line is a grade differential between the two communities. Therefore, the applicant is proposing to install a retaining wall. If you could click, please, thank you, which is shown here in blue. Now I will turn it over to Laszlo Palko with Palko and Company.
Good evening. Can you open up the presentation called The Overlook?
1 second.
Excuse me, like Mickey, I'm recovering from a cold as well, so I sympathize 100%, so sorry if I'm drinking water here. Okay, good evening, Mayor, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the governing body, and city staff and residents. My name is Laszlo Palko. I'm the founder of Palko and Company. I'm consulting on this project on behalf of Northfield. I was also the city manager for Manassas Park from 2017 to 2024. So I had the privilege of doing multiple town halls and engaging with residents, hearing the democratic processes, the concerns expressed from residents, and engaging with them on a comprehensive manner about the development strategy that the city had taken on since 2018 that's really led to the successes that you're seeing in the downtown now. I'm going to touch on that tonight as briefly, but also touch on some of the things that we've heard at the Planning Commission public hearing expressed by residents, Planning Commission members, and City Council members. Next, please. So again, I'll touch on economic development, and really the main concern that seemed to come from residents, we'll probably hear it tonight as well, is concerns about density and specific points that were covered about those issues of density. I'm hoping to briefly address those. Sam did a great job of covering a lot of these points, but I'm going to add some additional context as well. Next, please. Next. So in terms of economic development, the priority for the city over the last 8 years has been the downtown development, which you see coming to fruition right now, and you should be seeing soon a coming soon sign for the movie theater, which was brilliantly recruited by the city a few years ago. So the plan has been working, but I want to give you a little bit of history about that plan. Next, please. So in 2016, there was a wave election in the city, and a new council and mayor were elected under the leadership of Mayor Rochelle. A new strategy was crafted for the city. I was honored to be hired in 2017 to help Mayor Rochelle and the governing body at that time to craft a strategy to turn around some of the failures that we had seen in the city, both financially and economically. These were some issues that were identified at that time that the city was struggling with, right? So a lack of downtown development or poor historical development, right? You had the across the street, all those retail establishments were empty for about a decade at that point. So we had to craft a strategy for how to start getting businesses there. And you can see the fruition of that strategy working right now. Lack of restaurants, which are important for any small municipality when it comes to meals taxes. And then really want to peek down here, there was just lack of market data. There had been a couple studies done historically that pinpointed some of the weaknesses of the city, but more was needed. You can click next, please. We spent a lot of time on getting those market data analytics so that the strategy that we went ahead and pursued was backed by market data. Next, please. And you can see we're making some progress now on the lack of downtown development, lack of restaurants. The city is making that progress. Next, please. So some of the market analytics, a lot of this data is pulled directly from city slides that are public record. But you can see some of the stuff that the market studies listed here pointed out, the weaknesses of the city, right? So what the city could support in terms of retail, square footage, the issues with parking in the downtown.
Sorry, I'm going to cut you off here.
Sure.
Madam Mayor and City Attorney, this is a public hearing for a zoning application. I don't understand what this is not relevant to.
Yeah, this
public
project
hearing.
supports economic development, and that's what,
But we should
I'm giving
keep
some
it-
historical context, because at the Planning Commission public hearing, there were a lot of residents who expressed concerns that they hadn't been informed about
This is
the
the
history of
first
this
public
project.
hearing that I'm sitting at, and I haven't heard any questions sent by the public yet. So we're addressing answers from what day? Planning Commission?
Yeah, correct, that's when the community.
Well, this is a public
yeah.
hearing, so if you want to address the public, then the public should talk, and then we go address afterwards.
So would
But
you like
doing
me
a
to
market
present
analysis
afterwards?
right now is irrelevant to a zoning application public hearing.
What is your opinion?
So normally you do give fairly great deference to applicants and their agents in making presentations. Obviously, there's a desire to keep the presentations focused on the matters at hand, which is a land use application. But traditionally, you have given leeway to applicants as long as it doesn't go on too long. So my suggestion,
We're going through a whole market analysis.
I
and this-
can skip this, I was doing this on the benefit of the residents, but if that's your position, I can happily skip that.
Well,
Do you have a lot more slides?
I have a few more for economic development, and then I'll get into these specific density concerns.
Okay,
we
let's,
should not be talking about economic development, though. That's what I'm talking about.
I agree.
What's the point of talking about economic development regarding this zoning application right now?
I think the more information we give the residents, the better for them to make an informed choice. I don't think more information ever hurts. And he says he only has a few more, and then we'll
Yeah.
get to the topic. So,
All right.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So again, I'll try to be brief here. Some of the things that were highlighted were the need for additional residential density to make that commercial development successful. So a lot of the businesses that have come and invested in the downtown have the hope of this residential density coming. Next slide, please. I'll skip this. There's a strategy to compete with other town centers, but I'll go through this quickly. This is the market areas that were identified by the market analytics about what the city was trying to get in terms of market capture for customers. I want to point you for this specific application, the blue area. That's the primary market for the city. This specific application impacts that blue area, that immediate market area for those businesses, and that's why this is relevant. Next, please. So skipping on to now the specific issues of density that were raised by the members, and I understand the concerns coming from residents. Every time I did a town hall, there was always concerns about density and what the issues were. And I want to hopefully provide some data to help bring down some of those concerns, hopefully. Next slide, please. So schools, next. So Sam already brought this up in terms of declining enrollment. This is directly from the city schools website. If you go on the website right now, look at their budget page. This chart will come up. 2019, I did some town halls, and I expressed at that time that school enrollment was going to be declining at that time. And there was a specific reason, right? You started seeing some data about millennials and Gen Z just not having as many kids as prior generations. That bore out. You can see how much we've decreased, about 340 students since that time. Birth rates have declined to 1.59. 2.1 is needed for replacement. The issue here, next please, is for the city of Manassas Park specifically. A lot of our funding from the state is dependent on student population ratios, and the city of Manassas Park is heavily funded by the state compared to taxpayers. Next, please. As Sam said, the estimated number of students generated by this is a total of 76. That's well short of the 340 that have been lost over the last few years. Next, please. Other concerns were just too many people in our city. Next, please. If you look at some of the data, the actual population is starting to decrease in Manassas Park, and if you hit next, that's also true across most of Northern Virginia as well. We're starting to see an out-migration from Northern Virginia. A lot of that has to do with housing and the lack of affordability when it comes to housing. Next, please. And please do the research on this as well about population demographic change. These are a couple interesting charts here. You can see we're in the orange there for a declining population. along with a lot of Northern Virginia and a lot of chunks of southwestern Virginia as well. Same thing with out-migration. We're in the red area there on top of Northern Virginia. So we're starting to depopulate, as is most of Northern Virginia. Next, please. Housing, just, the need for housing was expressed as well. Next. So one of the issues that we're facing here, the Washington Council of Governments estimates that we're about 75,000 residential units short in this region per demand. So you have market demand and market supply, right? There's 75,000 more homes demanded by the public than what the supply can meet. And what that's doing is looking at things like overcrowding and pressures on pricing to go up as well. Next. According to the Washington Post, DC, Arlington, and Falls Church and Alexandria are on track to meet their quotas essentially for new housing stock, but the other 9 jurisdictions in the COG, including Manassas Park, are lagging. Next. So what's the issue here, right? The big issue is a lot of young people cannot afford to live in Northern Virginia anymore. That's a big challenge because these 2 quotes are important here. Many businesses in Northern Virginia are dependent on those people staying here. And remember we talked about school population. Who has kids? Younger people, right? So the more of those young people leaving, the less and less kids you're going to have as well. So one of the recommendations that the report makes is that we need to speed up the construction of new housing, which this project does. Next. Traffic. Next. So this is data. Please go to the VDOT site. Look at average daily trips generated. This is all available. It's a complicated spreadsheet, but I provided the link ID for each of these roads here so you can easily find the data. I looked at 2013 to 2022. 2022 was the most recent available data from Manassas Park, so I wanted to look 10 years behind. And 2013 was the closest 10 years. They alternate each year. So you can see Manassas Drive and West Carondelet, what the traffic was in 2013. Between 15,000 and 19,000 along Manassas Drive, and 940 in West Carondelet, adjacent to where this development is occurring. Next. You can see how that changed in 2022. Hit next. Specifically for this project, there's actually been a decline of 9.6% in terms of traffic volume, and the same thing for Manassas Drive as well. There has been a decrease in traffic in this area. A lot has to do, again, decreasing population, but also work from home, right? There has been changes to those traffic dynamics, but in the immediate area, there has been a decrease in traffic volume. Next, please. Where there hasn't been, next, is a decrease in traffic volume has been from the county. This is Signal View Drive. Again, look at the data from Prince William County 2012-2023. That's the 10-year look for Prince William. Signal View Drive, the traffic counts went up by 1,000 cars in that period, where it decreased in the others. And again, I provide the link ID if you want to go ahead and research this yourself as well. Next, please. All right, so traffic impacts. This is a slide from the city's town hall before, where they were looking at traffic counts along Manassas Drive. Again, they saw that it relatively stayed flat from that 10-year period. But what was the issue, right? Because we are experiencing more traffic on our road, especially on Route 28. Well, it's coming from Prince William County. Prince William Parkway added 10,000 vehicles per day at that same time period. That's what the city found out at that time. That's where the impact of traffic is going. I'm a resident of the city. I used to live on Manassas Yards. I would drive, digital drive all the time. I drive up to Loudoun County. Route 28 is a big mess, and I agree with you 100% on that. Anyone who's going to say that today, you're 100% right. Route 28 is a mess, but that's because of the county, not the city. Adding additional residential housing can create a marginal impact on traffic, but doesn't compare to the marginal benefits that you receive from that development. Next, please. And the city has been in the lead. You guys have a rock star staff here. Steve Hall, Calvin Odell, Michelle Berry. They have done so much to secure funding to help on transportation, and they've taken the lead on trying to improve Route 28. That's where the focus still needs to be. Next. I went out, so again, I live here. I walk the streets all the time with my son. I'm pushing him on a stroller. See me, say hi next time. I walk in the mornings. I just started taking pictures after that public hearing just to see what was the concern, because I used to live on Manassas Yards. I couldn't believe had traffic gotten that bad in the morning. There was someone who said they couldn't get out of their subdivision. So I started taking pictures. Next, please. In the morning time, and you can say I'm cherry picking, but if there was traffic, I couldn't cherry pick, right? And please go out and look at this yourself as well. But this is what it looks like, that intersection in the morning during this period. It's a steady trickle of flow of vehicles. Next. This is Signal View Drive. Remember I talked about how Signal View Drive has increased by 1,000 vehicles over the same period. Look at that around 7 a.m., right? That's where you start getting traffic coming onto Manassas Drive as well. Next. And in the evening, keep hitting next. You can see these cars, I follow them, 6 p.m. Most of them turn right. Please pay attention to that on the drive home. See how many vehicles are turning right onto Signal View Drive versus going straight back into Bloom's Crossing. The other problems too, I mean, you see school buses, right? You get stuck behind a school bus when they're dropping off kids. That creates certainly some traffic. But the biggest source of traffic by far is not even Signal View Drive. It's Route 28 and all those connectors from Prince William County that are feeding onto Route 28. Next, please. Parking. We touched on this as well, but just next slide. As way of background, the city's been discussing parking over the last few years. There was a lot of town halls that were done on parking. I suggest that probably needs to happen again. The solution that was brought up was a no commercial vehicle ban. You guys remember all the signs that came up across the city not allowing overnight commercial vehicles? That was a strategy at that time. Probably needs to be revisited if there's ongoing community concerns for parking issues. But again, in terms of this application, the applicant isn't compliant with city code. Next. Water. There was a concern about lack of capacity of water from this project. If you click next, this is directly taken from a PowerPoint slide expertly done by Calvin Odell a few years ago that talked about the capacity of the city. The city has way more capacity. It bought a lot more debt of capacity than it's currently utilizing. What they found also was that adding additional users, right, gives you greater economies of scales and therefore decreases pressure on the actual utility bills that you see. Next. And then green space, that was another concern as well. And the next slide is also directly from the city. Click next 2 times. City of Manassas Park. This is developed by Jay Swisher, great Parks and Rec director, who looked at the percentage share of parkland as a percentage of land. And you can see Manassas Park is at 21%. Look at where everybody else is at. And then as a percentage of population as well. The city of Manassas Park, the name park, is quite apt. I always say that when I meet people. It's a great city. We have a lot of park space. This project does add to that additional green space. Next. That's all I have. Sam, if you want to close this out. Thank you.
You could just jump back to my presentation, please. Sorry. If you can go back to mine that has the,
Yep, 1 second.
thank you. While they're pulling that up, I'll go ahead and just give you my concluding comments. If you can go to slide 17 when you have a second. While we believe the density proposed is appropriate because it is supported by the comprehensive plan and the zoning ordinance, it provides a transition or a stepping down of density between the apartment building Michelle spoke about and the townhomes to our north and west, and is supported by the traffic impact analysis that Kayla spoke to and staff's recommendation of approval. That said, we understand that the community and the Planning Commission may feel otherwise, so at the governing body's pleasure, we are open to modifying the density. We have enjoyed working with your staff, and this concludes our presentation. I am joined by the applicant and members of the project team, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, I will take questions from the governing body first. We'll start with Councilmember Cyberling. Any questions for the developer?
No, it's fine.
Okay, we'll go, which way do we go? This way. Councilmember Javed?
I'll wait till the end. Yeah, not this time.
I had one question. I appreciate the 11 ADUs, and the map that was shown, I'm not sure exactly which one it was. It seems like all of them are in one type of the 4 types that you described.
Correct.
And that's a little disappointing. Why weren't some of the townhouses and some of the others chosen to be ADUs?
They're proposed in the 2/2s. Steve, if you want to speak to the placement of it, it's not something I was a part of.
I worked in public affordable housing for a long time, and one of the things that contractors like to do is put all the affordable units in the basement below level and just the crappier units instead of dispersing them throughout the project. So that's a
Sure.
real concern that I have.
Sure. They're definitely dispersed, but you are correct. They are currently proposed all in the 2/2 product type. And Steve can speak to.
Yeah, let's call.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilman. Yes, they're in the, I'll say, the unit types they're in, they're about 1,700 square foot, so they're in the smallest unit type. We have some bigger unit types, but yeah, it's not, I wouldn't say the crappier unit types, but it's based on square footage, and they're in the
Yeah, I wasn't talking about your
smaller
project,
unit
but
types.
ones I've seen before in my
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why you didn't spend, my question is, why didn't you spread them to the townhouses and to the other properties?
I think we'd be open to putting a couple of them in townhouses.
I appreciate that consideration. Thank you.
Councilmember Maya?
I do have a question. So I know you took feedback from the community and you addressed every part. One part I heard on the planning commission is just generally quantity. Why was there any attempt to address quantity? Because that was the majority of the people I heard talking at the community.
I'm sure. So based on all of the analysis that we've done of the proposal, the road network, the infrastructure that supports the project, we believe the density is appropriate. We're obviously, as I mentioned in our closing statements, we're open to hearing feedback from the governing body on the density specifically. It is something that came up at the Planning Commission. We did hear it from the community, but it's something that we wanted the governing body to weigh in on.
Okay. The other comment I just want to make to your presentation, Mr. Falco. I saw your comment is that the schools are declining. They're declining nationwide. People are dying of children. That's an issue everywhere. The thing with the COG and the housing piece, this city, if you take the density per capita, is more dense than Baltimore City. I think it's almost slightly more dense than Arlington County compared to the other jurisdictions. And there was no slide that showed the density per square mile compared to the other jurisdictions. So I think that's an important piece to have as part of information. The other piece, just economic development, I mean, yes, anything that comes in with any growth would always contribute to economic development, I agree. But I don't want the narrative, or no narrative should be to the community or any of the community residents that if we don't do something, or it comes across to me, maybe I misunderstood, maybe I'm just confused, just get clarity, that if something's not done, this won't occur. And that confuses the public, and it confuses me. So just a comment. Thank you.
Sure, Vice Mayor Moore?
Yeah, I just want to follow up with Councilmember Kerr. I agree that COG's requirements of housing development doesn't take into effect all the development that's taking place in Manassas Park, which is a lot smaller. I think we saw a factoid that it's 13% development, new housing that we built in Manassas Park. We've been doing our job.
Yeah.
It's those other cities that aren't doing,
The counties.
are not building their houses like the Fairfaxes and the Manassas and other cities. I'll just throw that out there. They fight with me later. But I do have a question following up with Councilmember Kerr's question about reduction of density. If you do that, how will that impact the affordable dwelling units? I'm really concerned about providing our citizens below market rates so that people who go to high school here can buy a house here. People who live here can buy a house here. If we reduce the number of units, how will that impact the affordable dwelling units?
Sure. So the affordable dwelling units are based on a percentage of the total units proposed. So it's 5% of the currently in the proposal 213, which equates to 11 units. So if there is a reduction in density, there will be a commensurate reduction in the affordable dwelling units provided.
Because as I understand, these are for Manassas Park residents only.
Correct.
Or people, workforce, those who work for Manassas Park.
Correct.
Would be eligible, and 70% of the AMI is, I believe, the number that was quoted earlier by, I think, Mickey.
I have it somewhere. 100 and
106.
108, somewhere around
For a family of
there.
four or something like that?
Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you.
Yep.
Councilmember Javad, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I was just confused. Are you guys asking for guidance on what the unit number would look like?
City Attorney, want to interrupt real quick?
I've been listening with interest to this discussion. It would be inappropriate for the governing body to sort of suggest a number that might be acceptable. The more appropriate way and the more traditional way would be for an applicant to determine on its own, based on comments that are received from the public and feedback from the governing body, as to what it feels might be an appropriate number to move the application forward. So if the applicant is looking for the governing body to suggest a number, I would just argue that that's inappropriate. But that may
Yeah.
not have been what you were asking
No,
or suggesting.
my apologies if that's how it came across. We wanted to see if the governing body had the same feelings about the density overall, right? If the concern with the number was something that you all expressed too, and then that's something that we can obviously go back and look at in terms of, as a team, and then come back to you all with feedback on that. Definitely not looking for any sort of number, but just wanted to make sure it's a sentiment that is also shared by your governing body.
Yeah, that's fine, that's all I want clarification on.
Yeah, no,
we'll
thank you.
discuss
Thank you
internally,
for
but, yeah.
clarifying.
Yeah, thank you.
Any final questions here? Councilmember Seiberling, any questions before I open it up to the public?
No, thank you.
Okay, we have a couple people signed up for public comment, and then we'll take anyone who hasn't signed up and still would like to make public comment. First up, first, let's limit our comments to 3 minutes, please. Come up to the microphone, which is on the desk today. I guess you can have a
Sure,
seat
thank
if
you.
you'd like. And there will be no transferring your time to another person. The 3 minutes is per person. First up is Miss Karen Miller.
Hi, I am here, actually, thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I'm here to speak on behalf of Bloom's Crossing Association. I'm the president for the association, and our HOA has a few concerns. First, the property in question remains subject to the Bloom's Crossing Declaration. While the zoning may be under consideration, that action does not create the right to subdivide the land because our declarations limit subdivisions to specific circumstances. So each homeowner couldn't turn around and subdivide their land. So if you're going to make these 2 residential lots and they still fall under our declarations, they're residential lots and they're looking to subdivide them, I can't subdivide my property, and anybody else in here that lives in Bloom's Crossing are not allowed to subdivide their lot. So that's the first issue. The second is the declaration does not address how these properties would be assessed or maintained if the project proceeds. This creates uncertainty and potential financial impact to our community because the association assessment only goes to maintain common area. And in these 2 lots, if they're residential lots, there is no common area. So that's another gray area due to it falling under our declarations. And third, we believe that the parcels must be formally withdrawn from Bloom's Crossing before the project can move forward without burdening the HOA or the homeowners. So for these reasons, we are respectfully requesting that the council defer approval for the application so that we can have time, Bloom's Crossing's attorneys meets with Northfield Development to adequately work out a way to legally separate those 2 parcels from Bloom's Crossing so that they can proceed and with this wonderful plan, go right ahead, and then Bloom's Crossing stays intact and we don't have any issues. And I want to be very clear that we, as Bloom's Crossing, we do not oppose this project itself, provided that it can be legally separated from our community as required for them to be able to move forward to have this plan and for Bloom's Crossing to stay intact. So thank you very much for your time. I truly appreciate it, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Ron Buettner.
Concerns were addressed in the presentation.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone who is not signed up for public comment but who would like to come up and make public comment? Come on over. And Ms. Connor, could you keep the time? Thank you.
Sorry, I'm getting over a cold too.
Everyone is. You're fine.
Some of my questions were answered as I was in I attended some of the other meetings, but I had a list of questions, but I'm just going to focus on a few. The main one is the retaining wall, that picture that was up there. I'm right there on Jessica Drive, and I was thinking that the retaining wall would go all the way down. It'd be easier if the picture was up, but I was wondering, do they intend on digging down? As I assumed it was explained to me before, when they start building, they'll be digging down, so that's the reason for the retaining wall. So I just want a clarification that a retaining wall will go all the way instead of just a certain portion of it. That's what I wanted clarification on. I just wanted to wait until they presented it before I asked any questions. And the other one, in regard to construction traffic, will it be going through, will it just be exiting onto Manassas Drive, or I just want to make sure it doesn't come to Belmont Station side, that's all. That's it. I won't ask any of the other ones. They were pretty much covered, so I'll just let them know. But my main question was the retaining wall.
Great,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. Oh, do you mind sharing your name?
Barbara Blanding?
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Sure, come on up.
Hi, I'm Sandra. I am from Belmont Station. I just have a couple of follow-up questions. I'm going to hold off on the comment about traffic. There's new development that's going to be down on Digital, and then the traffic that the building that we're doing, proposing on West Crondeman. Those two combined is going to have a dramatic impact on 28's traffic, even though the majority of it is coming from Prince William. We're not going to fight on that one, but the infrastructure of the water bills are already high in this area, and I want to know what the impact of the water bills are going to be to the residents. And the other is property tax. What is that going to do to our property tax? Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to make a public comment? Yeah, come on up.
So I see the increase, the traffic, the car, which good for our community develop. But the other side, which have the gap, in front of the house, the tree. Before, since the light traffic, so the air pollution is not so much. So I see following the development, then this pollution may be, so is that the way can block? I don't know who will responsible for that. So that's my concerns. If right there, other side, and also the tree will not only prevent the pollution, and also can cover, keep more privacy from each side, and security increase, and also will be the boundary if some car by accidentally things. That's my concerns. But interesting program. Yeah.
Thank you. Do you mind sharing your name?
Megumi.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Good evening. I didn't plan to speak, so everything that's been presented is very interesting. Thanks for all that information. I want to speak to the feeling of our community and why I feel this can change that. My name is Shara Hicks. I've been a member of Boone's Crossing for 21 years. I've lived right along there, and I don't live there now, but I will still be impacted because that's the intersection that I use to leave my home every day. We have a wonderful park community where we can walk up and down the street and it has a certain look. The image that was shown, 2 images were shown of what it might look like, which wasn't actually accurate because the right side of the picture was all green space, whereas right now there's actually townhomes there. So it really won't look that big and open. This one area is a place where when it snows, the kids go and they slide down that hill. And that's the first things my children said when I said, oh, they're thinking of changing this. They said, are we going to lose our snow hill? And I'm talking about the feeling of the community. All of the numbers, all of that, that's great. But when we look at the ones around West Carondelet and just how that's going to change that whole feeling of community, that is of concern. I'm here for bringing in what we need and bringing money into the city, but we have a really specific feeling that's not found around the rest of our community and the community surrounding us, and I don't want us to lose that.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Okay, let's start from the top. Perhaps City Attorney could comment on the Bloom's Crossing designation and how to separate that. Will we be sure to get it out of the HOA there?
Those are all details. As you know, I'm new
Yes.
as city attorney, but the property, well, at least the city portion of the property was subject to a purchase and sale agreement. There was a due diligence period. I have been made aware by the applicant that there might be some issues. They're any one of a number of things that always come up in developments that need to be addressed, not necessarily as part of the land use, but as part of any site development and final plan approval. So yes, we will look at that and other issues, assuming this moves forward.
Okay, thank you very much. Could you perhaps speak about the retaining wall?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Do you mind going back to the slide right before this one? Is the slide right before this one? Yes. Apologies, the mic was off. All right, so what's happening along this, the red is the shared property line, and what's occurring around, the red line follows a ridge line. And so there's significant grade differential between the Belmont Station townhomes and our properties. So and Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, we sit beneath the Belmont Station community. So the wall that's proposed is shown in blue because the grades kind of start out flat and then the grade differential occurs. So the wall is proposed only to at that grade differential. So it will step up, if I'm not mistaken, correct? The wall itself will step up? Right, but the wall itself varies in height based on the grade differential between there. So as you can see, sorry, I'm walking away from the mic, the wall is just along this area, and then the rest doesn't require a wall because of the grade differential there. Is not as significant.
Okay.
Does that help? I'm looking back at my notes. Retaining wall. We are beneath Belmont Station, so there's no digging down. We're already kind of sunken in compared to Belmont Station. So our grade, we are lower today already. I think that was everything I had written down. Construction traffic, do you want me to address that one? Is that okay?
Yeah, that works.
We're not planning on using Belmont Station. We're maintaining, as I mentioned during our presentation, the 2 existing access points that exist at the site today, and we would use those to exit and then go on to Manassas Drive and then leave into the regional road network. But there's no plans or anything to use any of Belmont Station.
And while you're up, will you speak about the tree buffer around the property on any side where there's a tree buffer? I know there's one up north.
Sure.
The top of the picture and on the bottom as well.
Can you go to the last 17 or 18? No, the other way. Sorry. There you go. So the development has a total of 4.85 acres of open space. That includes this significant 1.2 acres of existing tree, like the knoll. I don't know if this is the snow hill she was talking.
That's the sledding hill.
The sledding hill. That will remain in there. And then everything that you see in green is open space, and then the landscaping is, as you can see, kind of depicted throughout the development as a whole. The central community areas is 30,000 square foot area. It includes a multi-purpose court that's striped, that would be striped for basketball and pickleball. And then you've got kind of a passive area, which lends itself to like pick-up football games, soccer games, picnics, just kind of letting the toddlers run around. And then there's a tot lot, playground structure. Anything else specific about the buffers?
No, I think that's great. Thank
Okay.
you. And then, Mr. City Manager, could you speak about the impact to our property taxes and our water bills?
Certainly. I'll start with water. The way, the way our water is purchased, there's a component of it that is a set price, and so the more users we have, the more people using water, the less people have to pay of the base fee that you'll see on your water bills. So it actually will not result in increasing the cost of water. It will result in decreasing the cost of water. Every rooftop will incrementally decrease the amount we have to pay for water. I'm sorry, what was the other thing?
Property tax.
Property tax?
Yes.
Yeah, well, property tax is a function of market, right? So if this development resulted in an increase in the value of your house, then you could look at an increase in your property tax. But it doesn't have much of a correlation to the development. It has a lot more correlation. Your property tax has a lot more correlation to what your house is worth in the market than what else is around it. I can't see this devaluing anybody's property, which might be a bad thing. You might want your property to stay low, but most people look at property as a wealth building tool, and so I would say this probably will have a positive effect on that, certainly not negative.
Thank you. Since this is such a hot issue, I'm going to ask one more time if anyone else in the public has any questions before I close the public hearing. No? Any questions from the governing body?
So we're voting on this one?
This will be voted on, I'm assuming, sometime in October. So we have plenty of time to talk about it between now and then.
First meeting or?
I don't know. It's going to depend on the applicant and when they bring it back. Questions? Councilmember Seiberling? Any final questions?
Thank you.
Okay, then I will motion to close the public hearing.
Second. Are you making the motion? So moved.
I said so.
Okay, then I'll second.
Michael's going to move it. Daryl's going to second it. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Oh, sorry, Stacy. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. All right, next up we have a resolution for a performance spotlight award for Officer Jason Kreitz. I will read it in just a second. We'll let the room clear.
Just read it.
What?
Just read it.
I'm going to give him a little respect and let the
I
room
think he
clear
was
in a
ready. I think he was
second.
ready.
This is a very important.
I thought he was
In
ready.
fact, they should stay and watch.
They should.
No. He-
This can go. Stephanie Williams, the next resolution.
Gotcha. Oh, okay, the TV station.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Tony. All right, recognition of Jason Kreitz. Whereas the governing body of the City of Manassas Park are extremely grateful for the great service provided to our community by all of our employees. And whereas the governing body desires to recognize outstanding performance of our employees as they accomplish important projects, innovative solutions, and/or are recognized by residents and our partners in our community and region for their outstanding work. And whereas on July 24th, 2024, Officer Jason Kreitz responded to a call of a suicidal person armed with a handgun in Signal Hill Park. Officer Kreitz demonstrated compassion at the highest levels, and his patience and willingness without hesitation for his own life and safety led the subject to putting down the gun. And whereas because Officer Kreitz's heroic actions, he was awarded the 2025 Award for Life-Saving from Virginia Association of the Chief of Police, which recognizes an officer's actions that put the officer in harm's way in an attempt to save the life of another individual. Now therefore be it resolved that the governing body hereby recognizes the life-saving efforts of Jason Kreitz of the Manassas Park Police Department, and be it further resolved that this employee is awarded a Performance Spotlight Award certificate for his outstanding service by the governing body and signed by both the mayor and the city manager of Manassas Park. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Stacy, are you still there?
Yes, and I.
Oh, sorry. Motion carries. So I have three things to present. First is the Performance Spotlight Award, and then I will bring this down and show it. But this is from the Virginia Association of the Chiefs of Police that was awarded, and our issued by the Department Life Saving Award. I'll show it down here. Everyone wants to come up. Chief Lugo, do you want to say a few words?
Of course he does.
Yeah, I knew it.
Good evening, everyone. You know, when you get these calls that somebody's, going through a mental state and our officers are responding to it, and then you hear what Officer Kreitz did during that time and was able to talk to this individual that just felt that there was no way out. And, you're proud of what he does every day, but you're proud of the person that he expressed himself that day. And it's not easy for police to leave something uncovered and approach somebody with a handgun, knowing that, there's something bad could happen. And, it wasn't just about getting him the help. It was, he actually sat at the picnic table after he got the gun out of his hand and talked to him for a good time and got him to, acknowledge that he needed help and that went freely to get some help. So I'm proud of him. He's always stepping up, doing the extra, and always monitoring the radio. He's a great officer, and I'm glad to have him here, and I'm so proud of him.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for being with us tonight. Okay, next is our proclamation honoring the 25th anniversary of Panorama Latino Television. Whereas almost 50% of the population of the city of Manassas Park is comprised of Hispanics, and whereas the city of Manassas Park values the well-being of all of its residents, and whereas the city of Manassas Park strives to encourage participation in city events and services among all of its residents, and whereas the community service Spanish language television program Panorama Latino TV show was created and has been produced since April of 2001 by Stephanie Williams after a preventable fire took the lives of a Hispanic family in our local area in the late 1990s. And whereas Panorama Latino TV show has proven invaluable to the city of Manassas Park by providing crucial outreach to its Hispanic community, and whereas this life-saving and life-enriching informational television program has been made possible since its inception, in large part by Novec and Comcast Cable. And whereas Panorama Latino TV show has engaged the participation of the City of Manassas Park, in addition to countless local, state, and national organizations, and was instrumental in providing vital information about COVID during the pandemic, and in assisting the U.S. Census Bureau over the years. And whereas the television program, which airs on Comcast Channel 2 on Fridays at 8:30 p.m. and Sundays at 6:30 p.m., and streams on YouTube, has been made possible through the dedication of many people, including longtime co-host and interpreter Suzanne Alvarez Prisgoda, longtime technical director and administrative assistant Alan Beaverstock, social media coordinator and show host Carol Guzman, show host and well-known singer of Peruvian music Diane Aldana, and new host and interpreter Victoria McCullough. And now therefore be it resolved that this 16th day of September 2025, the City of Manassas Park does hereby commend Stephanie Williams and each of her team members, as well as Northern Virginia Electric Cooperative and Comcast Cable, and expresses its gratitude for their leadership in mentoring and motivating our Hispanic community so they may live better lives in the City of Manassas Park. And be it further resolved that in celebration of the 25th anniversary of Panorama Latino TV, the Manassas Park governing body sincerely thanks Stephanie Williams, creator and executive producer, and her entire team for implementing this valuable show and providing the City of Manassas Park with essential outreach to its Hispanic residents. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Get your exercise.
That's good.
See you in person.
Yeah, tell these guys you gotta sit on top.
You're right. Good luck.
Nice to see you. Oh, definitely. Thanks so much. I think you guys are here. Yeah. Or wherever, which one you want. You pick. Used to podium. Okay. College professor. Nice. First, I want to thank you for recognizing our achievements over the years. I want to thank you, Mayor Mensing, Vice Mayor Moore, members of the City Council, City Manager, City Attorney, and City Clerk, Ms. Connor. I want to thank you, Ms. Connor, for all your kindness over many, many years. Thank you so much. I want to accept this recognition on behalf of my amazing team, one of whom tried to get here, but it was a long, long drive and a lot of rain, so she's not here, but I do want to accept on behalf of this team who shared my belief that education and information in the native language of so many of your city's residents was imperative to give vital information to make your city healthier, safer, and more economically sound. And that is continuing to this day. I feel like I've grown up, well, I want to congratulate the city of Manassas Park for your 50th anniversary. I feel like I've grown up with the city because I have been in this, I came to this area about 35 years ago, and I started working with the Hispanic community in various ways. So we've kind of grown up together. I was a little bit more than 15, however, when you guys were 15. I think it's safe to say that the Hispanic community has made a very large and positive impact on this city, and it will continue to do so, as you are well aware. I encourage the city to make an equally large and positive impact on this community. When we break down language barriers, we make it possible for these communities to become integrated, to participate in everything that the city has to offer. This can only make the city stronger and better. I also want to thank Mayor Mensing for being interviewed on our show recently and insisting that she could do it in Spanish, although I had a certified court interpreter ready to help, but she didn't need it. And this is just one example of a way, and even it's just a few words to say buenos dias on the street, buenas tardes, 2 words. As a Spanish professor and a language professor, I can tell you that Spanish is a beautiful language and much easier than the other Romance languages because it's a phonetic language, so you can really learn to read Spanish in just an hour or 2. It doesn't have any tricks to it. But I encourage all the city leaders to learn even a few words, and when you're on the streets and you're at the festivals, you can just say those 2 words. It just goes such a long way. So I encourage you to continue breaking down the language barriers, and I think in large measure your amazing new building and your amazing new city can also be attributed to the economic contributions of the Hispanic community, who are hard workers, great entrepreneurs, love to eat out, and frequent all of your businesses. So again, I want to thank you very much for this recognition, and I hope you have another very successful 50 years. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations on your 25th.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for being here tonight. Next up is the consent agenda. Tonight, it includes appointment of Michael Becketts to the Northern Virginia Community College Board, a term to expire July 1st, 2027. that the governing body adopt the two attached resolutions, which together will, 1, approve the city's participation in the proposed settlement of opioid-related claims against the Sackler family, and 2, approve of the city's participation in the proposed settlements of opioid-related claims against Alvogen, Amnel, Apotex, Hikma, Indivior, Mylan, Sun, and Zydus and their related corporate entities. That the governing body advertise, schedule, and approve a surplus vehicles and equipment item ordinance at the governing body meeting of September 16th. That the governing body approve the resolution adopting a policy allowing for governing body member participation in governing body meetings remotely with a maximum of 2 times during FY 2026 in strict conformance with the policy. And that the governing body appropriate $29,284,928 to the city for quarter 2 of fiscal year 2026, and that the governing body appropriate $10,574,091 to the city schools for quarter 2 of fiscal year 2026. Do I have a motion to
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. All right, next up is the EOP 2025 update with Chief Sober. Hello.
There we go.
Well, Lucy's left. She's always here. Yeah, she's a big fan.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the governing body. Tonight, what you have is the updated version of the Emergency Operating Plan, also known as the EOP. So under Virginia Law 44-146-.19, the Code of Virginia requires every local jurisdiction to prepare and keep current a local emergency operations plan that formally adopted by its governing body members. The EOP must, at a minimum, define the responsibilities of all local agencies and establish a clear chain of command. And local jurisdictions should update their comprehensive plan at least every 4 years. The last time we did it was January of 2021. So we're a few months behind, but we got there. Our current EOP consists of 3 basic sections. Part 1 is the basic plan. 2 is the ESF, which is the Emergency Support Function Annex. And then Section 3 is the EOC Operation Annex. Those 2 sections were just added in this year. We noticed in the past they were not in the document. And why they were added in was that's some compliance with the Virginia Department of Emergency Management. They require you to have a plan structure, which is Part A, ESFS, annexes, which is Section 2, and then the coordination showing the operations of the annex in Section 3. So that's the only changes to this document other than just being updated.
Thank you. I think Michael wanted you to read the entire thing.
No, we didn't want that.
I just made sure that I cited the law for Michael.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate that from the fire board.
Yes.
All
Only
right.
one I got, though.
Any comments or questions? We'll start with Councilmember Cyberling.
None here, thank you.
And I lost track. We'll start on this side.
No.
No question.
No questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Staff recommendation is that the governing body adopt the city's emergency operation plan, including the letter of promulgation as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Next is the ordinance extending the date one-time extension, which penalties would be imposed on delinquent tangible personal property taxes.
Thank you. I don't have a presentation for tonight. I think the agenda bill speaks for itself. Due to numerous reasons, the tangible personal property taxes have not been put out on time. They will not be put out on time. So we're asking for a 60-day extension on when penalties can be imposed on the eventual submission of those taxes. There was some concern that this would also, would collide with the putting out of real estate taxes as well. And we did have a conversation with the treasurer's office, and we just can't help it. We are going to get real estate taxes done on time. Thank you, Lucy. And so this is just to take the burden off our residents for the penalties and things that might happen, because technically they're supposed to be paid by pretty soon, October 5th, I believe. So, yeah.
Okay, and does the treasurer's department have the staff, or are we going to approve the overtime that they may need to process all this at the same time?
Does not appear to be a problem, that it's going to be a problem.
Okay, excellent. Comments, questions, starting with Councilmember Cyberling?
No comments, no questions.
Okay. Councilmember Javette, comments, questions? Anyone?
No.
The only question is, you said 60 days, correct?
60
So
days.
we're doing
Yes, there was
December
some
5th.
commentary that I saw that was confusing. So, thank you.
As
Which
long as
means-
it's been worked out with the treasurer, I'm fine.
Which means they won't be charged anything so it won't be October 5th deadline, it'll be 2 months
December
later.
5th.
December 5th is what I put in
Thank
the
you.
resolution, yeah.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the staff recommendation is that the governing body approve an ordinance to provide a one-time extension to December 5th, 2025 of the date on which penalties will be imposed and interest will accrue for delinquent tax year 2025 tangible personal property taxes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. We're at our second public comment time and no one is here, so.
Lucy's here.
Well, sorry, I just assumed.
Soper and Josh.
City manager report.
And not a lot tonight, just letting you know that between now and the next meeting, we have next Friday on the 26th, so might be the last Friday with summer-ish type weather, so I believe we're going to have a Hawaiian theme. And then October 4th is the 50th anniversary celebration culmination event at the Fire and Fiddle Fest at Costello Park, so mark your calendars.
Great. Our next meeting is not until October 7th, so enjoy the couple weeks off. Is there anything else for the good of the
Manassas Park football Friday.
Manassas
At home.
Park football on Friday?
Support it.
Yes,
Everyone in the room.
I wanted to
And
let you-
Lucy goes. She was there last week.
I
You were
was
there.
working the
You were there.
concession stand, thank you very
I was
much.
there.
It was more
Along with
tiring
Mayor.
than doing my actual job, so it was good. We're gonna do it again, I think, on Friday.
Is it homecoming or just a regular?
No.
That was
homecoming
last week.
last week.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
My daughter went.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. We are adjourned.